Are we going? Okay, guys, Sandy says read. Here we go. I have a wicked headache, so this might be quite the video. I've got notes because I will get lost without them today. Before we start the video, I want to mention pine needle tea. If you have an allergy to a certain serum that's going around, pine needle tea is a great, calming, wonderful, soothing item. I'm going to leave information about it in the drop-down box below. The other preamble to today's video is about peer review. This is going to come into play while we talk about the book today, but peer review information, I'm just going to speak from my experience with peer review of articles, because really to speak with any authority using my own experience is I think the best way to go. I don't know if that made any sense. My head really hurts, you guys. Okay, so back in 2005, 2006, I worked at a university that shall not be named, and one of the professors at that university was a co-editor at the St. Austin Review, and he put out a call for articles. I thought, hey, that particular article theme sounds really cool. I sent him my pitch. He said, yeah, send that to me. Let me see what I think. He was fairly non-committal because I was working in the development department of the university, and I was the publisher for a newspaper that went out to the community, and I wrote press releases. So I was writing newspaper articles. I was writing editorials for that. I was writing PR stuff. He didn't know if I could write a literary article for his fancy magazine, right? So he was very non-committal. Sent my article to him. He had some editorial comments. I fixed it up and it got published. Ta-da! There we go. So my article on the Bronte sisters, of course, is in the St. Austin Review. What issue is this? March, April 2006. Couple months go by and he put out another call for another theme that kind of tickled my fancy, and I thought, hey, I could probably write for something on that. I sent him my pitch and he said, well, Sandy, there's a hitch in the giddy up. The editorial review board of St. Austin Review was not thrilled that a Baptist woman, well, yeah, a Baptist woman without a PhD had been published in their esteemed journal. The peer review process tagged me as someone who was not worthy. So I was no longer welcome to submit to that magazine. Fine, there are other places I can send articles to. My point being, just because you have done your research, just because you have facts to back up an opinion, just because you have, I don't know, just because you have written something and it has stats behind it doesn't mean that it's going to get published or that it's going to be received out there in the world, because peer review can stop it. For example, on page 25 of the book we're going to talk about today, there is information about articles that were published, just trouncing all over information that should have been shared with the public. I don't know, I'm trying to be really careful in the way I say these things, you guys, because I'm certain this review is going to get taken down. But let's see. In June of 2020, Alliance for Human Research Protection asked, how did these studies that were apparently designed to falsify the effects of a widely used drug pass peer review in the world's premier medical science journals? Well, because peer review is just that. It's a review by a bunch of people who think they know more than other people. Maybe that's my jaded opinion, but that's my opinion, and this is my review. Okay. All right, so that's the peer review portion of today's book review. I am going to talk to you about a book called Plandemic. And I know that title sounds like a big conspiracy theory wackadoodle crap fest, which, it does. It sounds weird and crappy. But I went into the book with an open mind and went into it thinking, all right, I'm going to read this and I'm going to take in what information is there, and I'm going to make my own informed opinion of this at the end. And I'm glad I did. It's It's an interesting read, and I do recommend it for people to read. I don't think that it's dangerous. I think it's eye-opening. The authors, there's an investigative journalist and there's a filmmaker named Mikki Willis who have written this book. This book is a look at what Mikki Willis and his film crew went through to prepare two documentaries, one named Plandemic and one named Plandemic 2 Indoctrination. These two films, one of them is shorter, one is more feature length, but the book, Plandemic, basically is a conversation being told, being shared with the reader about how these two documentaries were made, what decisions went into making them, what decisions went into finding the experts or the doctors or the researchers or the patent lawyer who were involved in making the documentaries. I recommend the book. I don't want to go too far into this because A, I have a headache, B, this is going to get taken down anyway, and C, I want you to read it. I don't want to give away too much of it because I want you to read it. It's the information on the patents that were going into play long before COVID-19 ever came on the scene is eye-opening. It's intriguing. I never thought about the patents and the lawmaking that happened so long ago. It's interesting. It's intriguing. I encourage people out there to get the book Plandemic by Mikki Willis and just read it with an open mind. Read it like a documentary and learn from it what you need to learn from it, because there are different items in the book that aren't even related to COVID-19 or the jab. There are things in here that are just sort of a commentary on our society and on how we can be kinder to one another and on how we can be a better society. And I liked that. I was surprised to find that in here, and I liked it. Mikki Willis he was a Bernie Sanders supporter and a supporter of that idea of community and kindness to one another. And I liked that. And I liked the fact that he hasn't lost that kindness. He hasn't lost that sort of mindset and worldview of we can help one another and we can be good to each other, even after the vitriol and death threats and hate that he has received. He still believes we can be good to each other, and he has still made these films hoping to help people see things, see facts, see different truths that are out there. I liked it. I'm going to encourage you guys to subscribe to the channel, please, because I have a feeling that after this video I'm going to need more subscribers. That's it for today. I encourage you to pick up the book, Plandemic. It's a really quick read. Oh, I should have told you how many pages it was, right? It's short, like 140 pages. How many? What do we got here? Yeah, it's 131 pages. And then there's some endnotes and a bibliography. I mean, there's a lot of facts and stats and stuff going on in here. It's a good book with a lot of information packed in there. You'll enjoy it. The investigative journalist that I keep mentioning without mentioning a name is because the journalist did not want to be identified. She actually, and you'll have to read the section where she describes, she thought these people were crackpots too before she got involved in helping to write the book. She thought, this Plandemic thing looked like a bunch of wackadoodles, conspiracy theorists. But then she started doing her job as an investigative journalist. She started looking into it and digging into it and seeing, this truth here and that truth there, and putting these pieces together and seeing, oh, well, they got something here. It's really interesting. I'm glad that I read it and I recommend it to others. And I'll see you guys next time. Thanks so much.